See, many of you brothers and sisters don't understand that even the prophet Elijah, he enters into the same conflict. When the prophet Elijah appears in scripture, he does not enter a racial conflict. He enters a civilizational war, the same war first seen in the command given to the sons of Isaac. This is the war between covenant inheritance and Canaanite commerce, between the God of promise and the gods of prophet. And why Elijah is fighting Canaanite power is because Elijah's primary enemy is not Israel, it is Baal, the chief god of the Phoenicians who are culturally Canaanite. And how does Baal worship enter Israel? Through marriage. King Ahab marries Jezebel, a Sidonian princess from a merchant maritime culture. This marriage imports foreign gods, foreign economics, foreign authority, foreign values. This is Isaac's warning, replayed at the national level. See, Baal is a merchant god, and he is not merely an idol. He was the god of productivity, rain, trade cycles, and economic fertility. Baal promises abundance without covenant. This is why scripture later uses Canaanite as another word for merchant. The Canaanite system does not inherit land, it extracts value from it. See, Elijah stands as a covenant prophet saying, you cannot serve inheritance and commerce as gods. The trial of the systems. On Mount Carmel, Elijah challenges the prophets of Baal. This is not a magic contest, it is a legal trial between two systems. Baal's prophets cry, cut themselves, and perform rituals. Nothing happens. Elijah prays once and fire falls. The prophet Elijah, Canaan, and the war between covenant and commerce. The message is unmistakable. The covenant God answers. The merchant God performs but produces nothing. And this pattern repeats from Israel to nations. And here's the key point. Whenever covenant societies merge themselves through leadership, culture, or marriage with merchant-driven systems, the result is always the same. Identity erodes, worship shifts, inheritance collapse. Elijah's ministry exists to halt that collapse. And then symbolic application, America and England. Now here's the symbolic typology that comes in, and this is not genetics. Historically, England developed as an inheritance-based civilization. Land tenure, common law, ancestral continuity, covenantal identity. America, by contrast, developed primarily as a merchant republic. Trade, markets, mobility, profit as organizing principle. In biblical language, Canaanite describes function, not DNA. A people who organize their world around commerce, expansion, and profit behave Canaanite, regardless of ancestry. I repeat, a people who organize their world around commerce, expansion, and profit, also known as transactional living, behave like Canaanite, regardless of ancestry. So Elijah's warning still stands. Elijah not condemning people, he's confronting the systems. The warning to Isaac's sons, also known as the Anglo-Saxons, also known as the English people today, the confrontation on Mount Carmel, and the fall of Israel under Baal worship, all declare the same truth. When covenant people merge themselves with merchant gods, the covenant is lost. Elijah's voice still asks the question today, how long will you halt between two opinions? Elijah has saw Israel becoming Canaanite in function and not in blood. Specifically, he has saw four things. 1. The covenant collapsed through marriage and power. Israel's leadership had married into a Phoenician Canaanite royal house through Jezebel. This brought foreign gods, foreign economics, and foreign authority into Israel's governance. This is the exact danger warned about in Isaac's line. Marriage importing a system that dissolves covenant from the inside. 2. Baal replacing Yahweh as the source of provision. Baal was worshipped as the god of rain, crops, productivity, and prosperity. In other words, Baal was trusted as the economic provider. Elijah saw that Israel no longer trusted God for land, rain, inheritance, future. They trusted production and profit instead. This is why Elisha announces a drought. The drought exposes the lie. Commerce without covenant cannot sustain life. 3. Merchant logic overtaking inheritance logic. Under Baal worship, land becomes an asset, not an inheritance. People become labor, not lineage. Prosperity becomes the goal, not faithfulness. This is why later scripture uses Canaanite as another word, once again, for merchants. Elijah saw Israel shifting from a covenant people to a market-driven society. 4. A divided people with no loyalty. Elijah's famous question says everything. How long shall you be between two opinions? Israel wanted Yahweh's protection and Baal's productivity. Elijah saw that you cannot serve inheritance and profit as gods at the same time. But Elijah had wanted. He wanted covenant clarity. He wanted Israel to choose, not blend, not compromise, not spiritualize contradictions. Either God is God or he is not. 2. Restoration of inheritance. Elijah's goal was to turn the hearts of the people back, not forward into innovation, but back into covenant memory. Inheritance requires continuity, obedience, restraint. Commerce demands expansion, adaptation, profit. Elijah wanted inheritance restored. 3. Removal of the Canaanite system from Israel. This is critical. Elijah never calls for ethnic cleansing. He calls for systematic removal of Baal worship. This is why the showdown is not against people, but against prophets of Baal, representatives of a commerce system. Why this still matters today. Biblically, Canaanite is a role, not a race. Any society that organizes life around profit, prioritizes markets over memory, replaces inheritance with mobility, treats identity as transactional, is behaving Canaanite regardless of ancestry. So Elijah's struggle is timeless. Covenant people drifting into merchant civilization. Elijah saw a covenant people becoming a merchant society, and he wanted inheritance restored before identity was lost forever.